Welcome back, everybody. It's another episode of Connect, Share, Prosper. I'm your co-host, Chris Angel, here with your host, Chaz Wilson. And Chaz, today we're talking about how do you balance nurturing your family, connecting with your family while you build an empire. So I wanted to ask you this because I feel like you do a good job of this. Every time I see your family, seems like there's good connection.
Yeah.
So what's the secret?
Well, I mean, you should ask them probably, right? It's
yeah.
It's not perfect. It's not, there's always challenges in anything, but I think too, there's a lot of people that struggle with this. And part of it is letting go of guilt or feelings like if I'm at work, then I'm not with my family. And the truth of the matter is for a long time, I kept trying to balance it. Mm-hmm. And it's just too hard to do that. I would feel bad if I couldn't go to something that my kids had. And then if I was with my kids for a certain period of time, I feel bad because I'm not working and there's things I need to be doing. And so I just tried to let go of that feeling and that anxiety and just try to be present in that where I'm at. But I'll give you a couple of things, Chris.
Yeah.
So first is discipline, right? I am very disciplined to my calendar. Mm-hmm. Now, when I do that calendar, and then a lot of people are, but the first things I put on there are family activities. And my wife and I share a Google Calendar just to go through the logistics piece of it. We share a Google Calendar.
Yeah.
All of those items that are a must that she puts on there, it's like, you need to be at this event. Are in a certain color, and those get blocked, and then my team can see that I'm out during those times and they don't block those things. But then when I'm there for those activities, I'm there. I'm not still on the phone. Very rarely am I still taking calls. I'm very present in those moments. So the first thing is just, discipline with my time. I think that's really important.
Yeah.
I think that's a challenge for most people though, or for all of us, right? It's just challenged on time.
Yep. I agree with that. With that. What other things have you seen for making the time with your family work?
Yeah, so I have 5 children, and it's like I said, it's very disciplined. So, it's just creating the priorities with them and removing distractions. My kids are very much a part of my life. They're not I don't have this work life and then this family life.
Yeah,
so
that's good. Yeah.
Many people have seen my kids at Connect, our national conference. On occasion, I've brought my kids to the office, but they have to participate in what we're doing. So if we're putting books together that need to go out in the mail, they're helping put those together or whatever. They're not just, sitting around. Yeah. But I do life with my kids on that. And that's an important thing that really strikes me, that a lot of people have kind of these 2 lives, and that's why it's such a struggle. And I just make them part of that so that I don't feel like there's 2 lives I have to have.
I feel like when you said that, it made me think of maybe even what we mean by balancing family, as you build an empire. Because I think sometimes it's like the assumption coming into it is like there's a picture in your head, you listening to this, think of, oh, well, family life is supposed to look like this. Mm-hmm. Business is supposed to look like this. And then that's where it becomes hard to merge the 2 worlds because your preconceived context doesn't allow for it.
Well, let me just point. This is a really, really strong point right here. And I teach this, and I actually recently heard it a little differently. And so I'm going to use what I heard because I really like it a little better than the way I was thinking of it. Satema Gali, who's going to be one of our keynote speakers at Connect, he recently shared it this way. It's really the difference between expectation and agreement. So with my family, we have agreements. And I didn't realize that's how I had it for a long time, but that's really what it is. So we have an agreement about when I'm home, what days I work from home, when I'm home in the evening, what activities I'm going to be at. There's no expectation. We agree to that. So that way, if you think about it, what happens is when there's expectations like, hey, I thought you're going to be home for this event. Well, we never actually talked about it. We never agreed upon it. That's when these problems come up. Yeah. Is you start expecting something from someone that you never agreed upon, and then the challenges happen. Yeah. And so for us, we have these agreements. So, I stepped in and agreed to coach my boys, my younger, to their football team this year. So that means Tuesdays and Thursday evenings and Saturdays I'm there. My wife then agrees that she's going to go to our other son's practices because they're at the same time, right? And so we have these agreements, and I think that has just kept the stress level lower because I don't have to, I wonder what she's thinking. I wonder what she's expecting of me here. We've agreed to this. The other thing is with my wife, we've agreed to a weekly date night. And, you know, pretty much now, sometimes that weekly date night is quick grabbing something to eat and we're at the grocery store together, right? But it's our time together, without our children, just us. And that's an important balance too, because sometimes it will get out of balance of what you think, your expectations.
Yep.
And as long as we have this agreement together, it's become much better.
I think going back to that with agreements, having agreement starts with like, well, what do I really want? Once I know what I want, you and I can create an agreement around that. And I think sometimes people haven't thought through, what do I want this to be? They're sort of living with the expectations from how they grew up or from a societal expectation or something, right? Versus like, okay, well, here's what I want. Here's what I'm up to. Here's what I'm building. How do we make this work? And then having that conversation and talking about that.
Man, if you broke down this whole thing, I think we started it as the topic of balancing family. And you know what the real topic is how to get what you want. That's really the topic, because I want a strong relationship with my kids. I want a strong relationship with my wife. Well, if that's what I want, that's what I have to ask for. And that's what I have to get agreements on to make that happen. I have agreements with my staff about when I leave, and so that I can be with my family. And I mean, there are agreements. And some people are like, man, it feels so like contractual, like, you know, not relational. No, it's not that at all. Right. You know, I have an agreement with my wife, you know, about specific things and by the way, these agreements you make in your relationship, there's no outside expectations. You have to make these in your own family. And you know, when there's no sports activities, we have an agreement that we sit at the table and eat dinner as a family. That's our agreement. Like kids have to be there. I'm there. Etc. So there's all these agreements, you know, when we're out in public, we have certain agreements, my wife and I, you know, like we'll hold hands or whatever it is. Like there's just agreements that why? Because that's what she wants. Okay, great. We just agree to those. But yes, when I say, Chris, here's what I want, the cool part is you get to say what you want. Yeah. Yep. And that's how you create these agreements.
Yeah, I love it. You're so right. You're so right. When you lead with that, then the balancing of family, that sort of takes care of itself, because you end up organizing your life around helping each other get what you want. And then from the outside looking in, because this is what happened with me to you, I'm looking at you going, well, wow, Chaz has a lot on his plate, and yet he's able to balance family. Well, that's what it looks like from the outside looking in. But internally, like you said, it's just like, well, this is what we say we want, and we're going to build our life around the things that we say we want, because it's a life by design. So
yeah, I mean, I made an agreement with my wife that, like, look, I'll take my oldest son to school in the morning. He starts really early, and I go to the gym. Well, while I'm at the gym, she's getting the other kids ready. The agreement is I need to be back by the time they get ready to go to school, so I can say goodbye to them. Like, you get to design that. Like, you get to design those things if you're clear. But Chris, let me say one thing about this. What I think most challenges in balancing family relationships is people don't communicate what they want. And they're afraid to confront, to ask for what they want. And it could be simple things.
Yeah.
But they don't confront and say, here, look, I'll tell you, like, my wife and I do this. We're very good at confronting. She's very good at confronting me and me, her, but that doesn't mean in an argumentative way. It just means sitting down and go, you know, can we talk about this? I just want to share with you what I really want out of this situation.
Right.
And we may not want the same thing, and that's okay. But if we don't talk about it, there's expectations that get firing off, and then it's all kind of chaos.
Dude, that's so good, because my wife and I, we call it slaying dragons. Like, you know, early on in our relationship, there were those moments where, like, it's, you know, when it's coming up, where you're like, there has to have a conversation has to happen, because there's some stuff that's happening and that we're not seeing eye to eye on. And it's very easy, because I don't like to slay dragons. Like, it's a lot of work, right? It's like, well, but you just know, for the good of the relationship, you got to go have those conversations and slay dragons to get to the peace place with your family. It's just easy for people to not go in and slay dragons, because, well, this goes to the last episode where we talked about sitting on the sidelines. It's just easy to try to, like, hope it goes away. I hope it works itself out, all in response to trying to avoid the discomfort of the conversation that needs to happen in order to find agreement.
And in my experience, the reality is that the thing that you want, that you're avoiding the confrontation, if it's done, whether it's with your kids too, like, these aren't just spouse, right? Sometimes there's conversations with your kids that need to be had, especially as they get older into the teenage years or adult years. Yeah. Like, the reality is, in my experience, those confrontational conversations, confronting an issue, not the conversation.
Right.
On the other side, if it's done in a spirit of understanding and really expressing what you want and hearing what they want and coming to an agreement, man, on the other side of that, it's just incredible. So it kind of goes, why do we avoid it?
I agree 100%. I would say my marriage is one of the things I'm most proud of. And it happened specifically because of slaying dragons. Like, because we were able to have the conversations we had, we now trust each other to have those types of those tough conversations, and the platform it gives us in communication to design the life we want to have would not have been possible had we not had a history and a familiarity with having those kinds of conversations. Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah. And you have to get clear on why you're doing it too. Like, why does this matter? Why does any of it matter? And if you can create these agreements that line up with why, it's a powerful thing. I'm with you on the relationship piece. It was slaying dragons, as you said, and coming up with agreements that has really made that balance work.
Yeah, 100%. So good. I love it. Well, this is a good conversation. This is what business is for. I think we create business for the life we want to live, the life we want to design. And a lot of times that happens to be with our family. So great episode. If people want to connect with you, what's a great place for them to go?
Yeah. So the number one, you can go to my website, chazwilson.com. You can also look me up on Facebook, Instagram. I do daily check-ins. Well, my attempt is daily check-ins on Instagram. And you can follow me there as well, Chaz Wilson CEO on Instagram. And I'd love to connect with you, reach out to me.
Thanks, Chaz. Awesome. Good stuff. We'll catch you in the next episode.
See ya. You will.
you